So we're here with Jason Verney of Mini Mini Movie today. Tell us more about your project, the Mini Mini Movie website. You started out in 2011 as a fresh East Asian film enthusiast, Korean in particular, and you were trying to steer away from the mainstream of Hollywood cinema, of contemporary cinema. Where do you see this project going in the near future?
Well, to be honest, 2011 was when I started the website. Probably the year before, I had started seeing other films, Asian films, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Hong Kong, and also some French ones. Just anything that was going to sort of challenge me a bit more than Hollywood. I felt like, I thought it was just age, but it seems to be a thing with a lot of people now. It's, you go to a film, you can predict it. It's also, the music's way too high. Everything's pulling at your strings, whether that be emotional or adrenaline. It's just so obvious, in my opinion. I wanted to basically see films, but also write about them in a quirky way, because I also didn't want to take it too seriously. I think this is another reason I don't kind of give ratings. I don't disagree with them, but I think that sometimes each to their own. Each to their own decision of whether they like it or not. Where I think it's going, I hope to carry on, even though I've got other things I'm wanting to do. I'd like to keep it going, probably not at a fast pace, and I'm also focusing on events, not just films. So it's kind of wrapped itself inside me, and feels like a part of me basically. And
Also, speaking about other things, you have another big project going on, which is called Documentary. Tell us a bit about it. It's basically Korean culture, isn't it? What will it focus on? What can we expect from it?
Yeah, I get asked that question a few times, and the reason it's documentary with a K is because the word Korean is inside that, so that's the reason. But basically, a lot of people ask me what it's focusing on, and I say the whole culture, and people sort of say, "Wow, how are you going to cover the whole Korean culture?" I'm not claiming to be any wizard of knowledge with Korea at all. However, in the last few years, I have learnt a lot. I guess I'll be focusing on the film as much as I can without getting myself into trouble. I've interviewed a lot of directors this year as well. Some people have also said they can come on board, but it is, at the moment, it's my little project. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's going to, as I say, it's going to definitely cover film, definitely cover music, K-pop and otherwise. Art. I've since found out there's a lot of art, Korean art, especially in London. It's kind of weird when you start introducing yourself to another culture, another country. Even from watching a film of it, a film made in that country, you start seeing the food. Especially Korean films. There's rarely a film goes by without a scene with food. You probably wouldn't get that so much in a Hollywood film. They're very proud of that. I think they're very proud of it, and in Japanese as well. But it's also based around another theme, but I don't want to kind of go into that just yet because it might change. I've got to do the editing, and I've still got other things to film. I spent 2 weeks in Korea, which was not enough, but I will be going back. I'm excited, but I'm also, anxious about it because it's the first kind of, it's a challenging thing for, to quote on someone else's culture I'm not Korean, obviously, and you don't want to paint a false picture. I want to highlight the good things. There's a lot of confusion as well between North and South. When you say the word Japan to somebody, they have an image of sushi, cosplay, like today, manga. But when you say Korea, there's kind of a bit of confusion between. They think of the bad things, perhaps like North Korea, or the war, or maybe between Japan and Korea, which is many years ago now. But it's kind of. I just think there's a lot to be said for the culture itself and the people. And also, while I think about it, also a bit of history. Again, I didn't study history on Korea, but I'm learning a lot all the time.
So we still have Jason Verney here with us. We've added his partner Israel Seralbo Caballero. And guys, you both share a keen interest in East Asian cinema and culture. What drew you to the event today, to Hyper Japan? Anything in particular? Was it the food, the geishas, the culture? What was it?
For me personally, it is the Asian culture in general. I mean, it is Japan. I have a love for Japanese films, and although I focus on other continent films, Japan is still way up there. And along with that goes the food. The cosplay is great. I mean, it's great for getting the pictures of people as well. It's just a really good event. I think it seems to have grown a bit as well. I came in February and it didn't seem as busy as this. But although I realised there was some other expo going on at the time. I think that's pretty what it is really. I'm always going to love the culture. I've never actually been to Japan, but there's something about it. It's just so different from what we're used to in England. It's got so much variety, and it's just the styles are different, the food tastes different. Sake. If you drink sake, then that's different from our usual tipples.
In my case, personally, because first of all, I'm really into about Asian culture. We normally talk about Korean films, but we're really into about Japanese also too. And my personally to me is because I'm learning Japanese. I'm learning Japanese. I went to Japan this year, and maybe it's a country I really want to go more than just visiting the country. Stay there for a while, for a time, maybe a year, 2 years. And this kind of events push me to learn more things about Japan. Encourage me to go back to home, try to get my own books, start watching more films about Japanese style, see how they do the cinematography, history, especially history. I like the history and food as well. And I really like the people getting into this kind of events, not just Asian people. Because they realize that even though they're really far away, 10 hours traveling, 12 hours traveling, they're not really so far from us.
What is your opinion on Asian cinema in the UK? Do you think it's solidifying its position as the next best thing to kind of take the torch away from Hollywood? Will there always be a fan base for East Asian film in UK, and why not in Europe?
I'm in Spanish, so I have different opinion. I have another point of view about Asian cinema in UK. Respect about Spain. I have a few friends. They are related to the cinema festivals. For instance, Sitges. Sitges is really into about Asian films, and they really spread the Asian films all around Spain as Spanish culture, Spanish language. Here in UK, I started meeting Jason, different people, and I made the Terracotta Film Festival, Third Window Films, and they are really into about all these films. And when I went to the Terracotta Film Festival this year, 2012, I realized that people are really into Asian films, especially when you're talking about Studio Ghibli or anime or some special films about horror. But I think they are more further than these horror films. They are more than this Studio Ghibli. They are indie films that if you don't go this kind of events, you don't really get the point about them. You're never going to find them. And you never know that, they are small directors or small production companies. They need support like us. Try to spread the word about, it's not just American, USA or Hollywood films. There's something a part of that. So I think UK, that's doing pretty good. Maybe it's not the same level than France, Germany, but it's reaching that point.
Jason?
It's similar to what Israel said. I know that what does put a lot of people off, obviously, is subtitles. Even when I tell people that I see a lot of Asian films, they kind of say, "Oh, are they subtitled?" And if they weren't, I probably wouldn't be able to understand. But I think it's the same with French films. As Israel said, there is a market for them. But with Asian films, I found in particular that although I thought that it was just my taste changing, it was more whenever I told somebody that I have a keen interest in Japanese films or Korean films, they then remarked that they had one particular that stood out with them as well. So I mean, it might have been Old Boy, for example, from Korea, whereas at least they have seen one or two. And then as Israel was mentioning, the Korean interviews or the Korean directors, I think when I was first sort of getting more into Asian films, Japanese, Korean, Hong Kong ones, I was when I told people that there was I'm into those films, they were kind of always asking me about subtitles, whether they have subtitles, and of course I would say yes, they do, because I wouldn't be able to understand it otherwise. But obviously that does put people off. But that could be the same with French films, as Israel referred to earlier. But also with the sorry, I'm just trying to remember now what with the future of Asian cinema. I think we're quite lucky because we have Terracotta, as Israel mentioned earlier, and we also have Third Window, who introduce a great range of films, many comedies, which are they have a very different style of comedy, as do Koreans, but the Japanese comedy is sort of quirky. It's always called quirky comedy because you never know. Sometimes you never know which way it's going to go. It's not your typical Hollywood. Oh, that's forced to make you laugh. It's actually sometimes subtleties, and it's not necessarily slapstick, although slapstick is put in there. But it's you can't really define it, even within the genre of comedy. It's still a combination of such things inside, and I think they do a great job, and as do the Korean Cultural Centre in London for Korean films. I mean, this year, as an example, it was their year of 12 directors, and they've had one director every month. Now, one film will be quite a brand new one by that director, in which the director physically comes over and he does a Q&A. The other three films will be slightly older ones. But it also shows you that there is a demand out there for it. There's people going to these weekly events. They're not just sort of every couple of months. They're weekly events. People are going. A lot of the time, they're free events as well, which really encourages people. And the good thing is, I think it is getting it's solidifying, as you said, its place in the cinema market, because it's. The more people I tell about that I like Japanese films or Korean films, there is always one that they sort of say, oh yeah, I've seen this great film. It was Old Boy, or it was Takeshi Miike film, or whatever. It's always something, and so it's not like there's nobody that's seen one. But yeah, as I say, maybe it's the subtitles that puts them off. But you can either sit down and watch subtitles, or watch a Hollywood movie, which is very much predictable dialogue anyway, I find, and it's as I said before, it's forced in your face. This is how you're meant to feel, and I just feel that the more Asian films, they really challenge genre bending. They really challenge everything. You don't know where the story's going to go. Yeah. And even I try to avoid reading synopsis of any film. However, I do sometimes.
You like to be surprised?
I do like to be surprised, yeah, because you can read into it a lot, and I think that's another thing. I mean, when I was kind of getting so bored with the Hollywood output, I mean, I do watch some Hollywood films. I haven't shunned away completely, but even when I started watching foreign films, there was an extra added bonus. I had to concentrate on the words as well, so I was definitely forced to watch it and pay attention, yeah. But I just feel it's it is gaining solidarity in this country and across the world, I hope.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask this. What is the latest East Asian film that you've seen and has maybe left an impact on you? You really liked or something?
As you mentioned before, the KCC has been doing the 12 directors here, so we had the chance to meet different directors, especially there's those that are not really famous outside Korea. Park Chan-wook, Kim Ki-duk, Kim Ji-woo. So these kind of directors coming to London, they're famous in Korea, but for us it was different, completely different directors. And when we talked with them, I realized about the point about the new film director, as I said before. They really have problems to make films, but even though their histories are really good. So in the last Korean Film Festival, they showed some 65 minutes feature, which name was Sleepless Night. And I read somewhere that a film if it's no more than 67 minutes. But I don't believe that. Even though it's 65, 30 or 25, it's telling you something, it's a story. And this is Sleepless Night. I heard it for the first time from the Chris Conrad, Modern Korean Cinema. I think that he really loved the film because he did, 4-5 posts on the website. We were watching the film. I didn't expect anything. I didn't know anything. And it really impacted me. It was like, okay, so normal history happens every day, but maybe there are no directors that want to telling you that truth that everyone knows. If you realize that so many films, they are telling you different story, different life, and you try to get into the film, and there's no point because that's not happening to you. But this Sleepless Night, it made me feel that, okay, it happens every day, it happens to me, I see myself on the screen somehow. No, during the 65 minutes, but it's a really nice story. I was screened this week in Mar del Plata in Argentina, the festival, here as well. But I don't know if people can really go and see in the UK or Europe. It's going to be distribution in Korea next year. So I hope the guy, the director, would be enough luck or have enough lucky that everyone can see the film. Because it's really nice story. It's completely different than normal one.
Jason, your preference?
Yeah, I was actually going to say that because when he mentioned the Korean London Korean Film Festival, that's only just finished like a week or so ago. But even that displays, I think there was about 40 films, which is quite a lot in itself, and also toured the country as well. It wasn't just London, but I think it also shows what we were saying earlier about it's gaining its position because 5 or 6 of those films were sold out, completely sold out. So I think that wasn't just obviously the premiere was pretty much sold out, and the finale that was sold out. I mean, the funny thing was, and this was kind of a bizarre coincidence, but people there was Bruce Willis there, and there was John Malkovich and Helen Mirren. Okay, that's not what it's not what it's about, but it was kind of something maybe has changed, and maybe because some of the Korean stars are coming over here to film films, but with bigger or more world-known actors. But also because we're at Hyper Japan as well. Obviously, there's a Pango Fest. It's Pango Fest, and that's a smaller affair. But again, that's on its second year. I think it's its second year, but it picks some really different films and arty ones and documentaries, and that's also gaining. So I agree with what Israel said about the London Korean thing. But you wanted me to name a favourite one of recent. I didn't really want to make a Korean one because but I think because we had the festival, that's what's fresh in my head, and it probably has to be it's one of two really. But I was
say two, no worries.
I was going to say The Wait because that was just a fantastic film, very odd, but I would probably say more completely alternative film was The King of Pigs because. I mean, it's an animated film. It involves bullying, violence. Two pretty well-known actors who starred in Breathless, Dong Parry, and it was just, it just kept me intrigued for animation to do that. It wasn't just, it wasn't. I don't know. I hadn't seen any animation like that before. So I'd say probably King of Pigs overall.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks for you both. Nice to see you here.